Wait, Laura's tired still. Boy, he's got some serious to talk about.
I think
Yes.
speaking of hotel, there's no.
Oh, yeah.
Red line, nice. Yeah. I got people. You sit down.
Once again.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. We're gonna speak.
Oh, you want to sit in on the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we don't need to. Go any further than that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Okay, we will call the meeting in order. I believe Marcia will get here directly, but we will go ahead and commence with no public comments. We will go to announcements. I know that we had Reggie down here on the agenda to be out. Reggie Davidson is our new park director. He was no longer interim. I guess he is now the official new director of parks. So he was going to come out. I've met him. He seemed like a very capable individual. So when I was speaking to him, I was speaking in terms of how he might be receptive to golf, and he was much more positive than some other people down there. So I look for nothing but good things in the future. So I'm sure we will all have a chance to meet him, get him at a meeting here in the future sometime. So I did check, and I noticed that as of April 1st, all the new fee structure is intact. I believe all the season passes have now been all notified, and we are at the current rates then that we anticipated here several months ago.
Do we know how much of the hit we took on that? Was there very much attrition from?
We actually had a net gain
Oh, okay.
as far as like the membership numbers.
Right, yeah, some in, some out.
Yeah, initially, I knew we took like 44 person hit in the senior division, but since then, it's all been replaced by other individuals. So
Very good.
yeah, great. Been some changeovers. I think a few people switched to the couples deal. But anyway, overall, yeah, we actually gained. So I suppose probably what we need to watch is whether we lose in terms of daily green fees or not, how much we might lose there versus what we would normally assume that we would get as a full fee round type of scenario. So,
Yeah.
but we'll never know that until we see what happens. So as of right now, the comments is, the initial comments were all back when we were looking at it. Everybody discussing it, but from my understanding, there's not been a lot of discussion since they were enacted. So I personally haven't had any other individuals approach me about anything with it since then. So hopefully it will continue to go smoothly. We did not get the minutes done because of some changes that and what I either one of those great science stuff. So it's what you do. Hey, Ken.
Why is here?
I say right here.
Okay.
Hey.
It's good. Thanks. First is fine.
You did, what gets us in any new business. I have heard good comments that Robert was saying about the MAC this year. Apparently coming out of the winter, the ryegrass has done well. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to get over there to see it, so I'm going to assume that we're going to look for a little bit better year. Knock on wood, we get some rain, because it's going to be tough to irrigate it if we don't get some rain.
I just heard from a couple of the guys who played there last weekend that it was in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
I think with irrigation, do we have status on where we're at with sin? Are they?
Yeah, I have some stuff from earlier in March, some video that I'm going to show here in a little bit of some work that they've got done. From what I know, they have all the main lines ran. They sodded over what they dug out, and that's kind of where they're at right now. I know we touched on the whole well situation. I'm not sure where they're at on that. We'll have to talk to Jesse about the whole well situation over at Sim. But other than that, it seems like they're on schedule.
I did stop.
On schedule means what? Didn't they say 90 days at one point?
90 days. That's
But
just,
I don't know when they started. Does anybody else?
It was towards it was first part of March.
yeah, sometime the first week of March was when they broke ground.
They've been having a little trouble getting some wire in, which is, you gotta have to put it in, so. I do know that when I stopped by there last Friday, just looking, to see the status, they were unloading for pull, so I think they should probably may have started pulling by now, or they will do it maybe towards the end of this week.
That's what I played today. I couldn't see where they were actually working. I mean, it was,
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, I played today. I saw a whole.
well, I seen them, but I couldn't, I mean, none of the holes were shut down.
No,
Well-
there were no holes closed today, but you could see where the.
Yeah, I mean, what they,
So
yeah,
I
what's the main line's talking about? I'm talking about, I thought they were gonna shut down the whole day.
You won't see them shutting down the holes until the wiring situation.
Okay.
Because when they put that in, they have to pull that wire with it in order to get to each individual head.
I see.
They don't have. They're not gonna shut a hole down until they start pulling, so.
Okay.
So you said you have it out there. Did you see the little thing sticking up out
Yeah.
there? I assume that's demarcation.
You talking about that little bristly?
Yeah,
That's where your head
That's where the heads are gonna be.
that's what we're guessing, yeah.
And do the colors indicate anything? You know, there's a whole bunch of yellow ones.
It
And then
would
there'll be a red.
indicate this, whatever type of a head you're gonna put on it.
We guessed that too, but I just wasn't sure.
Was there a move to?
Was there blue? I don't know.
No.
I didn't see blue, but trust me, the places I were not blue. I'm just saying.
There's no street, that's anything.
I will say that the last time I did play Sim Park, I just haven't played much recently. He apparently had done some rye seeding over there because it looks to me as though there was some rye, a lot of ryegrass had come up. I mean, they didn't solid seed the fairways, but there's obviously areas of the rye was put in.
Yeah, number 8, no, number 9, they put bar on that, and it's in great shape.
I'm talking about the tee box or the.
Yeah, but there's a couple other fairways I wish they would have put, especially on 18. 18 should have had some ride down on it.
I thought I saw some unusual passage where maybe somebody just drug a cedar down there and seeded a spot. or
And there were a
something.
couple of places where there's just a big, like a 6x6 area of green
Yeah.
stuff, and then everything around is
Yeah.
dead Bermuda. Dormant.
I did, I guess, go on with the announcements, but Jesse's not here yet. Trevor's gonna do some stuff here in a minute, but I did go and stop by Saturday for junior day over at Tex, and there was I thought a very good turnout. There was a lot of kids out there, and they had like 5 different organizations that were.
Yeah, we had vendors and TGA and Junior Golf Association come out. It was a really good turnout. I think like 150 people came out for that.
Good. That's where the weather would keep a lot of people.
Well,
It changed our plans. We normally do it all on the range. We had all of our booths up against Texas
Yeah.
building on that north side away from the wind. It was okay. It wasn't the same as years past, but with the wind, I think worked out okay.
yeah, the configuration made it much nicer.
Yeah.
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 Than the hurricane that we were in last year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the kids seem to have a lot of interest. They get driving display. I think Colin, Jesse folks going out there and work this, showing exactly how hit balls, et cetera, and explain different things that happen when you do different things. Now, how much of that registers with the little type versus the bigger, individual, who knows? So, but the key is to get the interest stuff. That's all. That's what it's for. So, anybody else have anything they'd like to announce, discuss? If not, we'll move on and see what all Trevor's got here. He's got some stuff to cover. I'll make an excuse for Jesse. Reggie is out of town, so he's actually hosting the park department meeting today. So if he's dealing with things he knows nothing about.
He should still be here within 10 or 15 minutes,
Yeah.
but.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Is he the senior member of that group at this point or what?
Yeah, yeah, 30 years, that's all it takes.
I told him a minute ago before you got here, Reggie Davis, now that he was interim park director, he is the new park director,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
official, so.
And are we all glad?
Yeah, I spoke to him prior when he was put in as an intern, and I went up and actually spoke to him in terms of actually we were interested in the golf part of it, and it seemed to be very encouraging and just look forward to working with him. So, you know,
City law center too, so
yeah.
he knows all the city protocol, which is really
Okay.
good.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had, Mike was talking about junior golfer day this last weekend. As you can tell, we had probably about 6 ropes trying to hold that thing to the post, but we only had to retie it once, so we count that as a victory. Yeah, so we did actually still have the clinics over on the actual range. Corey from First Tee brought a launch monitor, so they were able to actually see their numbers a little bit, which was kind of cool. Yeah, we had snow cones, burgers, and hot dogs for them. TGA had a wheel that they were spinning and give away free prizes like pitch mark fixers and ball marks and stuff like that. We also had a junior skills challenge where they all hit 2 drives. They all had 2 chances to chip it close and 2 chances to putt it close, kind of like drive, putt, chip, but our version. We called it the junior skills challenge.
Wait a minute, just a second, Fred. Up here, as you see the tee here, you're gonna see later on, we discussed it before about putting some artificial tees on the back of the tees. This is what we're trying to eliminate. As you look at that coming out the winter, I mean, they just beat them to death. So once we get those all on the back of those tees, we'd be able to put them on there. Well, maybe we're trying to regrass sections of it or so, but you'll see that come up a little later in proposing. So
You're talking about kind of like these beat up areas.
that's what we're talking about. And most of you're all aware of.
Yeah, you can go out there and look at this range too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
tore up.
Yeah.
Just super busy. I mean, over the weekend,
Yeah.
we left some public spaces and they were filled. And as soon as someone left that spot, someone else filled that spot. It was all day, pretty much all weekend with how nice it was, besides the wind.
I gotta say, the new mats that they're putting at the first tee, right in front of the new building, they're great. They need to replace those rest of it. They're not.
Yeah, so we got the contact information for who they used to build it, and we're gonna go to them for here. And then wherever else we decide to put mats. So we should have something similar of a product of what First Tee has.
Yeah, Michael's got some samples of some mats that they're talking about using out here. He's gonna go get them. You guys can kind of see. He says one of them is for like the whole area, and then they'll have squares hitting areas on top of that. And he said that you can actually put tees in this.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I haven't used it yet, but from what he was telling me about it, it sounded like it was a pretty good product.
And then this
So
is
you
a
think
quick
that
little
we
video.
restricted them with a bunch of artificial stuff?
Artificial, right, and like it'll be maybe a lighter green, and then there'll be a darker green on the hitting. It's kind of the way I envisioned it.
That's what they have right there at the first tee. That has, it's artificial all the way across, but then when the days are, they got tee boxes there with that new turf in it. But it's a kind of a soft, spongy, so it's not nearly as hard on the elbows when you chunk it.
Does it all sit up nice on it? Does it?
Oh, yeah, it's just nice and smooth, but like, the other ones, if you hit, it just, this one here, it goes through, so, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and let him finish this and then we'll get back to this other presentation here real quick.
So here's a quick little video of the people that actually, or the kiddos that actually won the junior skills challenge. We had different age groups and boys and girls. They got a gold medal and a little plaque to take home. I feel like they were pretty happy with it. We had more than one parent come up and ask, when's the next one of our junior days? And I had to tell them, unfortunately, we only do one of these a year, but we have tons of other junior stuff you're welcome to check out. We actually handed out little pamphlets that had all of our junior programming on it. And then here's just a quick clip. I know Shamrock Scramble was quite a while ago, but here's a quick clip of both days. Very festive, lots of green. And then here's the irrigation video I was going to show you guys. Yeah, so these were actually taken in early March. What we're seeing is actually the main line being dug or trenched, and then you can kind of see what they came in with to patch it.
I'm gonna tell you, whoever operates those backhoes were pretty good because they could nudge a pipe without breaking. I mean, I saw very few breaks over there that they've talked about. Aaron said it's only been a few.
Looks impressive.
It does.
And areas that I saw that they had covered back up with the sod and stuff, you couldn't hardly tell.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't tell either. There was only a couple of spots that were still new,
Yeah.
but other spots is.
I thought they were doing an excellent job.
The little antidote, as you look there, that's on 14. There's already probably 7 or 8 encampments back in there again. Have you noticed that, Marcia?
No, we kind of looked back there today, actually, a little bit too.
Yeah.
Didn't see anything, because they've got that whole area
Well,
closer to the house. They've got all the irrigation equipment and trailers and stuff moved. So we were hoping that probably had 24-hour security and that maybe that would help keep them out.
But you can't, it gets harder to see as the foliage gets thicker.
Yeah.
But,
They're there.
they're back in there again, so.
I just noticed that they had moved a lot of them out and they cleaned it up.
Yeah, it looks,
They
that
did
look-
A lot better.
looks
Yeah,
better
it
from the
did.
course.
Yeah.
But they're moving
They're
back
back in
in,
there.
so.
Do we have 24-hour security at that area where all the irrigation and,
No, not that I know of.
well, I'm
They've never
shocked that
mentioned
people
to
aren't
me.
getting into that then. I mean, I know they have barbed wire fencing, but.
I think they've had issues in the past,
I would
people
think so.
getting in there and stealing tools and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There's
there's a lot of expensive stuff in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, we've had some issues in them. Maintenance aren't good.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Huh.
Okay, going on.
And then the last thing I just wanted to bring up to you guys, our next bigger event is going to be Golfer Appreciation Day. We'd love to see you guys there. That's going to be on May 17th here at Auburn Hills. Hopefully it's not as windy this time. But that is all I have.
Guys. Oh, it's interim director.
Yeah.
I just got to show you what I did at the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
We touched on this a little bit. We haven't touched on this. Probably here. Budget adjustments.
And we went over the financial deal.
No, not the financials.
This the game one?
Yes.
Yeah, because it feels like you could actually put a team in there and.
Yeah, it's got some, so there you can put it in there. And then every, that how the fund is built, it's around.
So is this, are we just, I mean, what size is this gonna go on?
5 by 5.
5 by 5, okay, yeah, so I wasn't thinking we're gonna put it down there, we just, then they had to stand on concrete or something.
Oh, no, I think.
No, it's
I
plenty.
think the funeral's gonna be down.
That will be in between, they call it kickabout turf, so it goes around the mat, the mats. So,
Okay.
yeah, I can pass my phone around here.
Okay, so basically it's gonna be a turf look all the way, there wouldn't be a concrete look.
There'll be no, on the top, you won't be able to see any
Okay,
concrete.
all right.
Yeah.
That's what I was off in my thinking of what we were.
So, I don't know if everybody can see this, but this one has not been laid, the mat, but this is the kickabout turf around, and then the mats in the middle like that.
Uh-huh.
So. it
Are
would
we
be-
getting these at the new hitting bays at Sin too? Oh, we don't have hitting bays.
Why would I put mats if we don't have anything? Marcia, that was a dumb question. I can leave. I really didn't.
Since I was gone for 3 months.
Wait till you see though, they have fabricated, they bought massive steel and they've worked on it a lot. It's almost done. It's not going anywhere when it's done. So
Are they gonna have,
there's your monthly update.
are they gonna have to hold up until the sprinkler system is in?
No.
Oh,
No, Jason, the new mechanic, he's very good at welding. So once he came aboard, it's like, well, let's actually do this right. And that's where we're at. So, um, all right, you just want to click for me?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a clicker right there.
Yeah, I need a USB.
So, sorry, let me apologize for being late. Yesterday found out I was somehow left off the invitation for the budget hearing, which is the biggest budget meeting we have all year with city manager's office. So just walked out of that. It went really well. We don't have a lot we're asking for this year, obviously, since we just got irrigation, but very positive feedback for the golf division on this board, everything we've done for the last 2 years. So very good meeting.
Adapter,
What's that?
an adapter, USB to type C.
Oh, yeah.
Something.
So apologize for being late. We'll jump right into the numbers so we can have those and then we can talk about whatever. There you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we all know January, February, we're basically closed the entire month. So we are behind. We're behind about 8,800 rounds so far this year. This is through the end of March. Is this working? Okay. So total rounds, we're about 8,000 behind. Looking at March alone, though, we were almost dead even with last year. We're not going to be able to increase rounds that much from last year. We were packed. So the thing we have to do is what we've been doing is the supplemental revenue. We've done the fee increase. So you only have so much inventory. When it's packed, it's packed. So number of rounds, I don't know that we're going to be able to catch up this year to last year, starting so far behind. But everything else, I feel pretty confident that we will. Year-to-date car rentals were about 18,000 behind. Again, that's just not having any play for 2 months. So I think we'll catch that pretty quick. After a couple months, we'll be ahead. I do believe or close. And just stop me any questions you have. Food and beverage, about 19,000 behind. Pretty good, really good month in March. So I think that number is going to continue to exceed last year. I really thought we were going to be farther behind, but so I'm not too mad about this, where we're at right now on the food and beverage side.
Just out of curiosity on food and beverage, have you had much negative feedback on the price change?
No, I've not heard any. Yeah, no one's brought anything to me at all. Driving ranges, even though we were closed, not a lot of balls being hit February anyway. So we're pretty close to what we were last year. We'll get into the driving range improvements that we want to make, but with the expansion at MAC, once first tee's done, I think this is just going to continue to go up, and with the slight increase that we just did, I feel really good about the driving ranges. We just received a new shipment of golf balls and range balls, so we'll have, to me, that's one of the most important things, having decent golf balls when you're trying to practice and you got a ball that's not round, you're not getting anything. So we're going to make sure we keep better golf balls on the ranges. Merchandise sales, we're down. A big part of that is Michael's, obviously, first 2 months, we didn't have people in the clubhouses, and he's just now getting going. And if you guys haven't been in the pro shop here before you leave tonight, I highly recommend you to check it out. He's doing a great job. So main number we're looking at, total revenue in March, we did 601. Last year in March, we did about 560. So we beat that by just over $40,000. For the year, we're $167,000 behind. So again, not much we can do about that, but I'm very confident we're going to surpass that. This month is looking awesome so far, even with the verifications. I think Michael, you can't park. I've been here for 10 minutes. There's nowhere to park out here right now. So I think what'd you say? It was a maintenance day. So his first tee time was at 11 o'clock, and you had 203 tee times starting at 11 o'clock. So again, no shortage of demand. Looking at the project funds, not much has changed. Obviously, you kind of look at the numbers there. I do have one of the topics is to go to council May 6th to do a budget adjustment. Basically, move some of this money in the big fund into the smaller fund so we can move forward with some of the stuff we need to do. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. You did this.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think you talked about that, Mike. Thank you for coming out Saturday. Appreciate the support. Pretty happy with that. And we also had US kids at the same time at Sim, a tournament. They had right at 60 kids. So between the two, had a lot of kids up on the course Saturday. So it was good. And then Saturday morning we had text turmoil. So Saturday we were pretty tired by 8 o'clock Saturday night. But it went well. Everything's good. Okay.
Go back to the rounds.
For the year or for the month?
For the year.
Okay.
Here. So what is it we can do to balance it out between the courses? You can see, you know, Auburn and Texas always had a lot more rounds than that sale. What can we do, you know, as the governors here, balance that out better? Because that's what revenue we're missing out on, I believe.
And I think, well, the text, I think one thing with that course is there's a lot of it is the flow of the golf course, and text flows. You can go, it just, the layout of that course, it's open, you go, you're not searching for balls near as much. It just, Steve calls it the golf factory. I mean, you're just running people. So the flow of that course is better. They're always going to have a little higher number.
I mean, sales the same way. I mean, it's wide open and, you know, short, but yet it's always small too. So I just try to figure, what can we do to balance that out and not leave money on the table?
Should we get down to the hard facts?
Yeah.
Course
The
condition.
hard fact is the course condition, and when you have poor conditions for several years, play migrates to another facility. And until the conditions improve to a point where somebody goes back and plays, and will say it's a lot better than it was the last time, then you start getting a little migration back because, well, one thing you might have had a hard time getting the tee time and text, so let's try Mac or blah, blah, blah. Course conditions is always the driving force of what happens in terms of participation.
I think that's number one. And number two, kind of what I was getting at was the pace of play. Mac is a lot slower.
I know Mac is slow, but Sam shouldn't have that problem.
And Sim doesn't have a driving range. I mean, there's different little things, but yeah, he's absolutely right. Course conditions, I think at Sim, getting that irrigation, being able to improve that back. I played, I don't know, a few days ago, and I mean, you play a lot more than I do out there. I mean, what's your take on where we're at right now versus where we're at?
Mac's looking pretty good right now, so I'm, you know, recommending we gotta get some kind of a message out there to the folks that they're trying to get on in Texas or Auburn and just look, you know, put a plug in there like Mac's looking much better or some kind of way to promote it so we can get more, you know, folks out there as opposed to like, I'm not gonna play today. Well, you can go there and still get a good game.
I thought however you want to word it, the playability of Mac was a lot better. There's still details just
Yeah,
visually
still
that
small.
have to improve, but the fairways were certainly better. The greens were, it was fairly soon after aerification, but they weren't bad. The bunkers were, I'm sorry, I keep.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
The bunkers were the ones that were leaving, he's put sand in, they weren't too bad. Unfortunately, I hit into a few that are about to be done away with them, and they are as hard as the stage. I had a couple of shots, I was flew without playing, so.
But no, I mean,
Can you run like, you know, you see other golf course run hot deals.
Yeah.
Certain times, run a hot deal, run a hot deal.
Tee times that aren't being used.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what.
That's the bottom line. We wouldn't run a hot deal if they can't get in.
There are certain times of the day, yeah, where it's, you know, the typical time of the day where it's slow. Those courses have a few times available where this course, Texas, not. It's booked
Yeah.
solid. Now, let me explain. When you go online, you see the hot deals. What they did, those are trade times for, like with golf now, if I want to use their system, I set up a trade time where they say we own 2 tee times a day and you don't pay us anything for your service, but we're keeping that money. So they're going to price those tee times cheaper to make sure their tee times sell. And you end up paying way more money.
But can we,
But
Why
we
can't
could do
we-
that. We could do it internally.
like internally and.
we gotta consider also there's a lot.
We could.
Competition.
And we also have a lot of members that will book those, so it's not, I mean, you know, whatever, but
But exclude from like a member, you can't, well, I don't know, I guess I should say that, but you still pay her, well.
my recommendation is give it a month and let's get the word out, like what you're saying, and book those tee times organically without having to discount a product. I would rather promote, we have a great product instead of we have cheap prices.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna recommend is we got the app. So when we got a tee time that looked like it's not closing, start shooting some push messages out to those folks with the app saying, hey, Mac is open on this time. You know, I know you're a member, you usually play, but you're not booked yet. Go after it.
But again, that takes,
I think so.
yeah, and he's got 800 things going right now. So it's, I mean, we can definitely do this. We can. I don't know that we'll be as consistent as we would like to be with that, but we can definitely, when we notice it, that would happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It doesn't hurt anything.
I get your, like, I get what you're saying. We don't want to discount. Look, we want to show a great product, but right now they're not seeing the great product.
Right.
Give them a deal, let them see the product and then take it away later. And you don't have to keep it there. I mean, get them back there, get them there.
It's a spring special.
Yeah.
Search special. And so some of those things that let them know it's not gonna be around forever, but I realize it takes more maintenance.
Yeah.
No question.
And I think some of the, if you're looking at statistics and the folks that are members or let's say non-members that haven't played for a while, but they've got the app and you can go out and tap them and says, hey, I see you haven't played for a while. Why don't you come out and play for us? And then maybe offer them a discount if they haven't played for several months.
And I'm trying to think what we could offer them other than a discounted green fees. It's a thing for members. I mean, what if we said, come out and play Mac and you get a hot dog and a Coke? I mean, I don't know, those kind of things that would make them feel like they were getting something that they don't get if they go play art.
Right. Yeah. One thing too, to factor into this, we aerated Mac in March, at the end of March, on the 26th, 27th. So we basically had no play that week. Nobody wants to play on aerated greens. That's the only course. Sim, there's no reason. But at Mac, you lose 5 days of 200 rounds a day. There's a lot of golf. So I think that number would have realistically been 5,200 probably without verification.
Going back to course conditions, you play that probably more than anybody else. If there was a weak spot or something that we would need to address, would it be the rough, the fairways?
It's the fairways and it was the sand traps. The sand traps are in pretty good shape now. The last 2 weeks, Ron has got those sand traps that are not marked or removable. They got good sand in them finally.
Yeah.
But like you say, 2 weeks ago, there was still some concrete in there. So no, the fairways, there's a couple of spots, but for the most part, everybody's saying, hey, Matt's looking good.
And he's going back, he's spot seeding
Yeah,
those spots.
right.
And now the rough to me, it needs a little bit more consistency. It's kind of patchy and
That's
especially
the one thing I heard this morning. Talking to some guys was the rough is kind of sporadic.
yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, of course,
I was just
affects
thinking
play,
that
but visually,
spring, but
that affects play, but visually, when you got rough, that's all different. It looks terrible. Even though it's rough, it still is not uniform. So we've discussed that a lot this week. So brought it up.
Yeah, I always think the better we can make our courses, people are gonna come and play.
oh,
If
absolutely.
the product's great, we'll get to play.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions with any of these numbers or anything else finance related? I haven't gotten the finances from finance for March, so I should be getting that any day as soon as I get off. Got it.
Moving on.
Reggie, I had added him. He's going to come and just speak now that he's officially the new director of the park department. But he is throwing out the first pitch at somewhere today. So he was going to try to swing by, but he couldn't make that promise. So I couldn't be here. I think, is there anyone that's not met Reggie? Yeah, okay. Okay. And I think he's going to be a definite friend to the golf division. He's a great guy. I really enjoy working with him. So. Okay.
Okay, budget adjustments. I was reading over this and I had some curiosity myself.
Yeah, did we talk about the Auburn fairways yet?
No.
I just want to give a quick update before we go on to this. We played out here. The fairways are covered. I feel like the coverage is better than last year. There's not as much stuff yet. But we have working with the company to get that. We kind of know the time frame, but the guy's obviously he's very busy doing all the golf courses in the area. So we're looking probably the first couple weeks of May is what we're hoping for to come and pull cores in the fairway. And then, of course, I said all this last time, but we have the sod on hold. So once that's done, then we'll figure out a time and gather bodies to resod a lot of these for almost the big, massive portion on number 18. And then he's identified areas on every hole pretty much to resod the fairway. So looking forward to doing that. He sent me a text this morning. Yesterday he did a lot of work on the tees, getting them ready. He's sprayed. He's sprayed greens today, or maintenance day. As soon as he got done with that, he was starting to spray the tee boxes and the fairways just to get rid of all the weeds, dandelions, clover, all that stuff. And then gonna get the fairways mowed for the first time this week. So I think pulling the corners of the fairways is going to be very, very helpful. And then when we get that sod, obviously we'll have to navigate how that works for all the massive amount of play that we're going to have. But in a couple of months, that's going to be a huge improvement. I think pretty excited about seeing how that goes here.
What time of year do you have to, I mean, I'm sure it has to be warmer weather, right, to do the sodding part of it?
Yeah.
So that's probably towards June timeframe or?
Yeah, no, we have the Monday qualifier. We don't want to rip it apart right in the middle when those guys are here. So we could go late May probably, but do we want to do that the week before these guys are trying to qualify for the qualifier? I don't want to base our whole year around that event, but if it's a matter of waiting 1 week, I would rather do that. Well, and it kind of depends on the weather too. I mean, I thought we need to make sure we're not going to have a cold snap pop up 3 days later. So.
They're going to, I spoke to the superintendent out at the sod farm today and asked him regards mowing it, and they're gonna set their unit down to 5/8 so we become more compatible with the height we're mowing around here. So you don't get 1 inch zoysia grass and then try to cut it down to 5/8. That doesn't work very well. So
Good. Okay.
they're gonna start cleaning that up probably next week. Obviously, because they sell stuff, they're a little bit slower about trying to skin something down versus when cold weather comes in, because they want to be able to sell it. So, and in regards to the weather factor, the later that you wait, the more they may have available, because obviously it will grow with the interim time when it comes out versus putting a little fertilizer on it. If you wait till into June, there may be more available as it tightens up in some of the areas that they might normally not sell. So, and we still have it all reserved. I mean, I think that they've got reserved for us. So, obviously, you know, if they would like to move it early, but we try to take it and wait as long as we can in order to do it.
So Randy, as the Auburn Hills person on this board, what are your thoughts so far coming 3 weeks, 4 weeks into decent golf weather on the golf course? Compared to last year, just in general?
Well, I mean, first of all, 18 is the first thing I think of because of how much we had bare dirt and stuff last year. Now that rye is coming up and you're actually visually, aesthetically, it looks a lot better. Seeing a lot of dandelions and stuff, but like we said, he's spraying for that kind of stuff. So I just think that doing the tee boxes on the fairways, if we can aerate those and open that up and get some good warm weather and some rain, I mean, I think it could hopefully come back really, really good. I'm just very hopeful, and I think we're on the right track. Just doing those things, I mean.
Yeah,
I'm very hopeful.
How's greens, you think, this year compared to last?
You know, before they aerated, the greens were really, really good. They were rolling good. They were a little bit quicker and stuff. Very nice. With the sand, you know, you get the bumpy stuff until it grows and they can go back over it with rollovers and what it's got.
I'll tell you one thing that concerned me with the sand that was used to top dress here. There's a lot of rocks and put a lot in there. That kind of freaked me out when I saw that, to be honest with you, but I want to get a better standing, and we're going to do it all the courses. We're going to do more top dressing, more rolling this year to smooth them out, keep them consistent, speed them up a little bit if we want to. Don't know. I don't know. I guess not right now.
Check back and see if their screens are, I mean, sometimes the places get a little holes in the screen, and when they're screening that, the clunkers start getting through.
Yeah.
If you get that, you gotta go back and address them, and tell
Yeah, it's not good saying. Like I said, there's a lot of little things.
them. When you get the sod and the fairway, I do want to forewarn you. It's impossible to sod back in order to create the surface that you want without sacrificing little nips and tucks here and there, because it's impossible to go around circular stuff. You got to square that off. You got to put it in. So there may be a little bite here that you lose in order to get it back. So
Yeah, that's what Ron had always done when we were helping him. He would square everything off, and then afterwards, he would have that, the weed eater with the metal blade on it. He would take it and go sideways down along it and just trim it and stuff, so it would fit right down in there. And I don't know if that's normal practice, or, I'm just saying that's what Ron did previously.
it's, you know, if you don't have a straight edge, you're running curves, you cannot get that cut and netted in right. So there's always some attrition to make it better.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. I think the prep work is 90% of it. I think you gotta, I don't know if he plans on going in and taking a sod cutter and cutting it out square and removing that, and then coming in with the
When they,
new.
to forewarn again, that when a company's selling sod, remember, they're not selling dirt, they're selling sod. So if you get that, you're not gonna see much dirt on the bottom of those things. That's, yeah. When you go down courses and they're doing it themselves, you may see that much dirt on the bottom, you know, where it's thick, you know, it's like going to Kansas City. When they saw it down there, you get a chunk like that, they put it there so it doesn't move.
So if you were doing that, would you try to loosen up the dirt underneath it so that when you put the sod down, the root system could kind of,
That's what you have to do with your pre-aerifying it, so it's already got a natural hole that it's gonna seek out to get into. So, but if you loosen it up, what happens is now you create a surface that's unlevel, they go like this.
and the hair is gonna come out.
Yeah, and so you don't want to really do that.
Yeah. I'll just be like,
Well, that's all I know. I know that's been a big topic, so I just want to, till the work's done, I want to continue to update with the plan.
so verification, May timeframe,
But yes.
and then
Budget.
sod later, maybe late May or, but I mean,
it's-
however the weather works out.
Yeah, I mean, it's ready for us to grab when we're ready. So it's not like we have to wait on somebody else who can get that pretty quickly.
And that's something that Dalton plans on doing himself. I mean,
The sod,
yeah,
we're gonna get some bodies. We're gonna pull people. I'm gonna ask volunteers. Once we know a date, I'm gonna try to gather as many people as I can. So help the guys. Yeah.
But maybe you can get some little temporary labor in if you have to. I mean, that's. League registration, I think that we went over that last week or last month. I know we discussed it. Yeah, made a revision on a little bit, but
Yeah, no, I mean, that's basically nothing. Basically,
Yeah.
we've got the forms from almost all the leagues now. I'm creating a whatever you want to call it, spreadsheet of everyone that is registered league, and then we'll start really, enforcing what you got decided as a board. So, I'll let you know that we're working on getting all that organized and putting into place. I haven't had too much feedback or too much kickback, but and some of the groups that play multiple times a week, they play at a time where it's not impossible to get a tee time. So even if they have their 2 set tee times, they can still wait till a 7-day window and book their times. It's not that big of a deal, but that way I can point to a policy and say, this is what we're doing. I think that's going to be okay.
yeah, somebody made a comment to me over the weekend that I thought most of that was just about kind of maxed out where we're gonna be with that. So that correct, incorrect, or in
I'm sorry,
terms
they
of
made a
numbers.
comment, what, Mike?
That we were basically maxed out kind of on how many leagues we were gonna allow, that turned to that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I have had several, not several, I've had a handful of groups that say, well, we're gonna get 12 guys and we're gonna form a league. That's, I think if you're a registered league, I'm putting you in the register. I don't want to take on new league. It defeats the purpose of what we're doing. And that's exactly, if you get, most of the groups that have came to me are guys that, folks that don't play together all the time. They just think, well, we'll get 12 and then we have our tea times later. So I think the established leagues are established and they'll be approved. I would rather not take on new leagues.
That's probably where they got the interpretation of that.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
All right, that works for me.
Okay.
All right, we do have budget administration. You guys got a copy of this, not read again. If you wanna read over it pretty soon.
Got that. I basically have the same thing up here. So I'll go through this and then we can dive into it. Basically we have our, I think it's the first slide. What's going on here? Okay. We just looked at this. This is basically our project fund, our big bucket, and then our individual funds. To move money from this over to that, I do have to go to council still and ask for that budget adjustment. So they have to approve it. So this is kind of what I would like to do, to be able to allow us the flexibility to do some of the projects we're wanting to do. So that's what this is. I wanted to go May 6th, I think. So a lot of this is on the sheet that you have in front of you, but the background, you all know this, anything over $1 million at the end of the year is basically scraped into that main project fund. And then from there, we have the 4 individual projects being the cart fund, the equipment fee, the grounds fund, and the clubhouse improvement fund. This is more for city council just to understand, but basically we as a staff and as this board, we go through capital project and capital improvement projects that we were wanting to do. And then, determine how to spend that money based on priority and needs. So, cart fund there's no change in that. That thing's doing very well, doing better than expected. I know in March, I think we put $23,000 was added to that fund just from the cart rentals, the $2 from every cart rental. So don't want to touch that. It's doing great. It's got $830, I think, $1,000 right. Well, that's what anyway, it's doing great. We can maintain the carts for 20 years off that fund with no problem.
Okay, so just my own clarification. $2 out of every was actually going back into the projects funds then, or
It goes into the cart fund. So every time somebody pays for a golf cart, it's $15. $2 of that goes into this fund. $13 goes into our general fund. So $2 from every cart rental goes into that fund, and that's how it continuously builds up, and we're able to pay the lease without having to get into our general fund. That's how, when these carts are at the end of the lease and they're wore out, we can get brand new carts with no problem.
right, the $13. So then the $2 is actually just going back into the general fund then?
No. $2 goes into the cart fund, $13 goes into the general fund. But we also sold all the carts that we had, the old fleet, and that's what started this one. We sold those for, I don't know, 600, I don't know, I don't say number.
Yeah.
600,000, whatever it was. And then $2 from every cart rental goes into this fund, so. And it's grown since it started, even paying only $25,000 a month to the lease.
It'll be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Self-sustaining.
So no change to that. That's irrelevant in this budget adjustment. The equipment fund, $3 from every green fee goes into this fund. This is strictly to pay for equipment that we need, mowers, all the maintenance equipment. Right now, go back here, we have 82,000 in that, and we have bought some equipment this year. I'm asking for $100,000 to be put into this fund. That allows us the flexibility when we need something, we can buy it. That would give us 190,000, and then it would continuously grow as people pay green fees. So my thing is, I just don't want to be where suddenly we need an emergency piece of equipment and I have to wait on council approval to get that. I just want the flexibility where if something does come up and we need equipment, we have the funds. That's the whole point of this process. So $100,000 into that. The grounds fund, it's got 48,000. That was what we paid for the cart path repair. that we did last year at the end of 23, I guess it was. I'm asking for, I can't see here, 90,000 to go into that. That would do the mats that we're talking about doing here on the driving range. I'm waiting on one more quote and then we're ready to go on that. Right now, the best quote I have is 28,000. So that's all the concrete, that's all the mats, that's all the kick around, that's all the labor. That's start to finish done. So
That's just on this one course.
that's just here. That's
28,000.
Right.
So if you want to do that at Tex.
Essentially, yeah, essentially the same. So
I'd recommend to go ahead and add that now, because I'd like to see that text on as well.
yeah, so 90,000 would cover that. We have, like I said, we have 40. This would put us at 138,000 if we move 90,000 over. The bunker projects, especially the one at Mac, we're going to need special fund. We're going to need funding to redo all the bunkers that we take out and all the improvements we're wanting to do. I would like to pay for the fairway airification here out of this fund.
Is there anything in there for additional seating, like grass seating and like Sam?
It could be. I mean, this
now,
would give us more than what I know I want to spend. It would give us, there'd be money left over in this fund for anything else that we need to spend. So my goal, and I've talked about this and you all know this, but is to our general fund, be able to look at expenses year over year and have a definite comparison, an even comparison of what I'm looking at. When I first started, they'd done 200,000 on bridges, I think, and they had a pump they had to replace. So when I'm looking at 21 versus 22, they're not even close on the expenses, but I don't know why, because everything was in there. So anything outside of our normal expenses, I want to come from a fund. So when I look at the expenses, the day-to-day expenses, I can see, okay, we're spending too much money here, and it's not because we did these projects. It's because we're mismanaging something, labor, we're mismanaging food, whatever it is. I need to be able to see there's a problem there.
So you said if you put 90 in there on top of the 48 that's there, you can cover what you have in mind, at least right now. Could you just hit me again with what you have in mind right now?
Yeah, the two driving range
Mats.
so you're looking at 60,000 there. The bunker improvement project at Mac. And then that's gonna be sod, that's gonna be dirt, the ones that we would take out. And then the fairway airification here is gonna be $12,000 to contract that out and have them come do the fairway.
How much is the sod here that?
17,000, 18,000.
Right around 18,000.
Oh, yeah, that would be part of it too. So 60.
You know, both it's 100,000 to be clear.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like it's up there already.
Now, I'm being a little conservative, and the reason for that is we have the irrigation we have to pay for. So I don't want to just dump money into these things. Then it's going to be real hard to make, to do it. So I am being a little conservative, probably not that if there's something that needs to be done, I want to do it, but I also don't want to get ourselves where we got a big payment that we're going to start making here very soon on the irrigation. My personal, I don't know, we've talked about it. I would like to get ahead, pay more than the minimum requirement on that payment, and it would look good if we get us out from underneath it. So I am being fairly conservative with that amount. And then quickly on the last one, the clubhouse fund, most of the work that we're doing is on the clubhouses are done. We redid all the flooring at the other 3 clubhouses. We are looking at carpet options to see what that would take here. We're looking at roughly probably $20,000 to do all the carpet throughout the entire clubhouse. The other one's got the LVT or whatever the laminate, whatever that other flooring is at the other courses. But here, I do want to stay with carpet with the conference space and so forth. So that would be 20,000. There's 2 air conditioners right there that we got the quote today. They're $21,000. They are pretty well shot. And that controls back here. They pretty much need to be replaced. Otherwise, we're going to be dumping 4,000 every month into these things. So
How much is it in the clubhouse fund now?
40,000. So just those 2 items would walk that out. Now, so my recommendation here was to put 50,000. That would basically, if we did those 2 things, that would give us 50,000 to have when something happens. We had a big leak at Mac the other day. I mean, the buildings are old. We're gonna need to spend money to keep them going. So, now, these are numbers I came up with to kind of start a discussion. I have sent this in as a placeholder for that meeting, but we can still make adjustments. So that's what I wanted to kind of bring to you guys. I will need your approval to move forward with that request from this board. So we can discuss that and
Pull in what you want to move.
And then, so here's, if we did the adjustments the way I have it, that would put us at 640 still left in this fund. And remember, at the end of the year, I fully expect, as long as we don't have crazy weather, to put another 750,000 into this at the end of the year. That's kind of my projection on where we're going to end up, even with the 2 bad months. So this would put 182,000 in the equipment, 98 and 130,000 in the grounds fund. Now, remember, the equipment fund goes up $3 with every green fee. So it's probably went up $200 since we've been in this room.
So where does what fund would it come out of for the irrigation that you're talking about? So let's say Sam and $400,000 or whatever it is to knock that out. Does that come out of just the general fund? Or is
That's kind of our call. No, it could come out of this project fund. So there's an irrigation fund, basically a fifth thing that the money that we got from the CIP from the city is there. And what they've approved so far, we need to make payments toward that. So we could pull it out of it, and we would need to go to council and get approval, but we could do it kind of however we decide to do it at the time. I would much rather I don't want it to come out of the general fund. I would come out of this.
So in theory, we're done McDonald Park and Sim Park, and we anticipated 2.5 for that. We think we may come in around 3.5
For those two.
for those two. We think we could maybe come in around 3. So basically,
No,
we got,
I think Mac is going to be 2 million.
think we'll be that high.
So if Sim was 1.5, I think Mac will definitely be 2. Just because of the lakes, and it's just a bigger, there's more stuff, more to do there. So I think, and I've kind of floated that to, I'll give an update on that in a second too, but I've floated that number that this is what we'd like to stay around, and a couple of the architects that I've spoken with so far said that they think that's probably pretty close.
Basically, the city's committing 2.5 for that. And we need to commit, well, maybe we could commit, yeah. So we're gonna fall back on what, have we commit 2.5 there too? That's.
So we get 1.1 from the city?
Yeah, 1.1, yeah, so 1.1, so, yeah. Yeah, our payments are spread out over, our obligated payments are spread out over basically 10 years. So we have, I think the first year's, I should have that in front of me. I think it's 126,000 that we're committed. Personally, I would like to pay more of that. I know it's Sim, our part of that is $400,000. I wouldn't mind paying $400,000 and let's get it good. I kind of dabbled that idea with the city manager today, and I didn't commit to anything, but I told him that's what we would like to do if things go well. And obviously that was a big hit in that meeting. It was basically, he said that would be a very good idea if you can pull that off. So
That's how.
yeah.
The only thing that, and maybe I'm off track here, but the grounds fund is something that, because I keep going back to the course conditions, I think is the one thing that we really need to stay on top of. We really need to be sure that we're providing product that is top notch. And the grounds fund is one thing, it's kind of like Robert kind of said something about maybe seating right and running some portions and different things like that. If there was one place where I think we should put a little more, it would be probably towards the grounds fund, just my 2 cents.
But fine with that. I mean, no, I agree. That's where I want the focus to be 100% going forward. But we're doing better with labor with people this year. But that, I mean, as much as the resources that we have from like financially divided, the people are probably the biggest issue right now. I think you've got 3-4 people trying to take care of this place. It's not, you're gonna neglect things. I mean, is what it is, but we are in a better place this year. Our greenskeeper at Sim just left. So we do have a couple of good candidates. Mac is
The new one that we just got.
Didn't we just get him?
less than a year. Got a better offer. I mean, no blame toward him. Good for him. But yeah, but we do have a couple of good candidates. Mac is replacing, they're going through the process to get their greenskeeper in place, and a couple of good interviews so far. So feel good about that. Was able to open up 2 field worker 2 positions, which is kind of you got superintendent, assistant superintendent, greenskeeper, field worker 2, and then worker 1s. So field worker 2, 1 here. Grant is in that position at Tex, open 1 at Mac and at STEM. So we have kind of another little bit higher paying position that we've not had before. I was able to get opened up over the last couple of weeks. So
When you got those reclassified, does that mean they no longer have to take X amount of time off, or what's that?
we're still working through that.
No, that's still in the
So
process.
that was brought up today too. So
Just for my understanding, what is the cost? How much does it cost, like per fairway, to oversee with the ryegrass? Like, that number is.
I don't know what seed is about the town. You got,
obviously par 5s, par 3, different lanes, but I would say average of $600 a home probably
probably.
600-700 probably.
Anything.
No, and that's why if it's just spot seeding, I don't mind that coming out of the general fund. I feel like that's something we would do year over year, but if it's a major overseed, we're throwing an extra 20 grand at something, then I would like to use
As far as overseeing going, sometimes I think it probably might help Bermuda grass areas. But I would really want to see them come in there and start slicing up your
Oh, no, I'm not.
poison grass out here. See
Yeah.
them into that.
I'm jumping on Sim today. I mean, number 1, number 10, number 18 of Sims need to be overseen. Right.
Well,
So is there a plan for Sims that we get the sprinkler system in? And then after we get that in, is there a plan to either aerate or do something to, I know it activates once the weather gets warmer. Bermuda starts to go, but can we do something
Yeah,
like
once that's completed, we'd already discussed the possibility of renting the sprigging machine again from the sod shop. If they're kind enough to do it.
the thing
You can't do anything until that irrigation's in and everything.
I'm talking about this fall.
Yeah.
Those 3 fairways, putting down a line, getting that.
I don't think it'll be this fall. I think it'll be late spring, summer. They'll be done. I'll talk about it in a minute. They were going to be done in about a month. And then we will actually be able to irrigate and get water to those fairways efficiently. So
And once you do
when
that,
it's hot, the Bermuda's going to
sprig
take
it
off.
in, knock on wood, it'd be like over Tex. You're gonna come back and you would see an improvement like Tex did. So,
And I don't know, some of those spots on Sim, I don't know, they gonna come back. It's.
well, no.
You see Tex last year?
Yeah.
You saw it when it was before we sprayed.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like I said, that was a hell of a job they did.
No grass out there. 70% of the fairways probably. So if you spray and water it, they'll come in.
So forgive me for being ignorant about these kind of things, but is that a labor intensive thing as well? I'm worried about what you just said about us. Maybe our limiting factor is labor.
No, it would be it'd be a short project, just like laying sod. We throw all we have at it for a few days, get it done, and then just water from there.
So I guess my next question is looking at that grounds fund, because I agree with what has been said about how important that is. If you had more money in there for whatever got there, what else would you do with it? What's the next thing on your priority list?
That's not bad. It would give us flexibility when things came up, but as far as projects, I think every course right now, the bunkers at Mac, the
Bunkers out here, they got bunkers out here.
fairways, the bunkers here, doing the driving ranges. At Sim, I think that irrigation is going to be the key, and we can sprig, and that won't be that expensive to do that sprigging. And then Text. I'm pretty happy with them. I mean, you can always improve, but I mean, there's no glaring major, this is a nightmare issue at text.
I say that Texas is in great shape. I don't find any issues out there, but.
So,
All those things you just named, you could do for $130,000. Pretty much.
Yeah, now, to your point, if there's other things that pop up, that flexibility, so we could throw a little more in there if or ask for a little more. I just, again, I don't want to get just jump ahead and then now we got irrigation payments and, you know, that worries me. I want to get that paid.
is there an anticipation also, so hypothetically at Sim, if you do the sprigging and stuff, now you gotta keep that really wet, so you gotta probably keep maybe people off of there for a little while. I know at Tex, we kind of did for,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was about 3 weeks.
We essentially did that entire golf course. These areas, we would be able to, but if we're not going to sprig every inch of the fairway like we did at Tex, but yeah, we would definitely have to work around that. I mean, kind of the same way we're doing now with the irrigation. There's spots that we have to keep people off of.
Yeah, I just wondered if that would affect the revenue stream coming in was my concern.
I mean,
The answer, yes, but I don't think in a dramatic way. No, I don't think so.
anything you do is to do an improvement affects play because some people just decide they'd rather play around or go to McDonald's or do something.
But I think just like Tex and the way I expect is gonna happen here, and if we did that at Sim, people are gonna be happy to see progress. You're doing something. I don't care if it disrupts my play for a couple of weeks, if you're telling me it's gonna be good.
Yeah, that was feedback I got, the Sim today. There were several guys that says, I'm just glad that they see the city is doing something about the courses.
Yeah, I get that comment.
Yeah.
In terms of overseeing, I don't know, I pushed for overseeing 3 years ago. They was all naked in the game, nobody liked it.
Well, I'm involved for that anytime you want to help.
But when you get into overseeing, you got the cost to buy the seed, the cost to put it in, but you got extra cost for labor because now you've increased your mowing season another 4 months.
But if you look at like when it's there in March, April, and it's green and folks are getting out of the course, I have to have some thumbs up on that.
That can go really good and really bad. If you have a really bad winter and you spend all that money and you're not getting any revenue, like this year it would have been hard to recover the expense of that. But the course would be better right now. So it's good and bad. I mean, when I was in Texas, our superintendent,
like Randy says, folks see the course, it looks great, they're gonna be out there playing.
Yeah, that's our problem.
It is, that's our product.
Believe me, I thought that for years, and reflection grid, because Dr. Lowen was a guy that wanted to see green all the time. So it was always ryegrass and bent grass. So, but
so
it's money. It just costs a lot of money. That's all there is to it.
So feedback for the amounts, I guess, let's take them one by one. On the equipment fund, to me, I think with that continuously going up with the purchase of every green fee, I think that's put 100,000, have that cushion for equipment, and then let the fund build up. I'm good with that. If
Do you
you
have
take them one by one.
specifics that are coming out of that fund that you need to have come out of that fund in a short order?
No, not sure. Our equipment, we've done a lot in the last 3 years.
The board, between Jesse's suggestion and the input from the superintendent and the board being really positive for that. I mean, I remember the days when we didn't have anything that you had to fix before you had to run it out there.
We had to send a good
It's
chance.
changed.
Having Jason on board is, that guy, he's awesome. And I say it every meeting, but it gets better between every meeting. I mean, he's great, fantastic. So, yeah. So the equipment fund, if you're good with that, then, so the cart fund's good, equipment fund, 100,000. Let's go to the clubhouse fund first, since ground seems to be the controversial one. $50,000, to give us close to 100,000 total. Looking at, And I don't know yet on this carpet, but definitely the HVAC. I think we replaced 5 HVAC systems at about $10,000 a piece since I've been here, and we have about 3 more. I just don't want to continue pumping money into broken down. I mean, you spend 2,200 when they show up, and then 2 weeks later, you're calling them again. It's a
Max
waste of
all
money.
done, right?
What's that?
AC and Max all done, right?
You know, ice machines in good shape now.
We just bought a new one here, leased a new one here, so the one downstairs was terrible. It was gone. So
you leased it?
we leased it, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the best thing.
We had some issues. We had to work with them to figure out, they wouldn't lease it because we didn't have a drain the right way. So we had to get creative with them and figure out how to meet those requirements. But we got it. Yeah, they delivered it last week.
How's the status on the heating air text?
We just replaced the unit, $11,000. Yeah, so that's
That was in such a horrible place over there where they put that in.
right above the tournament.
It's the dumbest
Yeah,
place ever.
yeah, but that one's brand new as of a month ago, probably.
So other than the projects that you told us about, the flooring and the HVAC and stuff, you don't have anything else right now that you know of that is gonna be a
No, and
major?
I mean, we'll continuously do little things, but to your point, I'm out there. These are, I'm happy with these. Let's get out in the golf course. Let's spend money. So no big projects. Huh?
Downstairs cool, that's been taken care of here.
That's right. We did throw a breaker on Sunday and they couldn't figure out why it quit working. And then they said the refrigerator quit working too. And I'm like, okay, you got a break. There's no way both of those units went out at the exact same time. So they found it. We figured it out. No, they're working. They're fine. So, but yeah, I don't have any other things in mind, any other clubhouse projects I'm looking for. And this is, I mean, if I needed to go back at the end of the year and ask for another budget transfer, we could. This would be, I don't want to go back a month later, but if, you know, it's not like we're stuck. This is all we get all year. I could go back later in the fall and try to, if we have other projects come up. So I guess the grounds fund is what we need to figure out, what you guys think on that.
I don't know, I gave you my 2 cents.
Sure.
I would bump it up a little bit more, but that's just because I think that's the most important thing. And the more we can do to make our course conditions top notch, I just think that's.
No, I'm with you. I mean, like here doing the contracted verification, the sod, doing driving range. I don't know what else outside of just doing a dang good job of maintaining it. I don't know what other.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think about like what Mike said about sprigging at Sims and, you know, I don't know what that would cost. But I do think as soon as they get that irrigation system in, that's gonna be.
I think we did we did the whole course for 6,000 something. And we the sprigs came. We got the machine, which was awesome, and we pulled the sprigs from the course, so it just worked. It was just a lot of manual labor, but
To be candid, I would be inclined that if you wanted to do something there in terms of sprigging, plug another $10,000 into that. Just put it and go for 250. Only because we took it out and it was except a lot cheaper doing it that way when we pulled the sprigs from ourselves. But there, we're actually taking out what we're not sure of in terms of the turf. I mean, we're not sure that that's the hybrid that we're really looking for, where we could buy sprigs in the bundles and sprig them ourselves.
know what we're getting.
And know what you're getting, where you're getting a better quality.
I was over that one.
What do you think this
I don't think
cost?
If you do 20 grand in there, to make the total transfer 260,000, I think you'd be more than covered. Would that be the number I'm looking at?
I've got
We were at 130 for the grounds fund, I think.
the way I've got it up here is 240,000.
Right.
So,
But yeah, you're transferring 90 and 150, that's 240. So if you transferred another 20, you're looking at 260,
So
which would hedge your bet because
I'm lost.
So basically what he's saying is equipment fund stays at 100,000, clubhouse stays at 50, bump the grounds fund from 90 to a 110.
That would be my vote.
Okay, I'm with you.
okay.
20,000 to me sounds like a amount that I would go for.
I mean, that way you can go out and you can get some, you would knock on wood, if you're a spring where you would have less winter capabilities of losing it.
I like that.
I just think that, yeah, that's something that we should be able to do.
As you notice, when you go look at, and it's nothing against tax at all, because it did a fantastic job. And it looks to me like it's been, when you go play there, there's 4 different strains, and this is greener than this, or this is tighter than that. And I would like, the more that we can get away from that, be a little fewer, the better I like it. Plus, when you're taking out strips, you're taking it, you're harvesting from your own, you create a pretty uneven surface, which takes a long time to top dress that back.
It's still, like, some of those spots are still pretty wavy.
Yeah, the cars go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're running a irregular surface, mowers themselves are biting here, biting there, so.
So a question for you, Mike, how likely is it we get that machine?
We can get that machine out. I'll make sure. to get the machine.
All right.
Helps to know.
Yeah. Okay, so bumping that up to 110, are we good with that plan? I'll just need, if you guys, if you're good with that, make a motion and I'll put that on this.
We have a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve the amounts that Jesse has sent forward to each of those funds to go to the city council for transfer.
Amount in $260,000.
I'll
Do
second.
we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Robert. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0-6-0.
Okay. All right, the next time I have just the update on the McDonald irrigation plan. We're wanting to get ahead of that, not do like we did with Sim. That worked out very well, but I was nervous as I could be going through that process because we were rushing, trying to get it done. So with this one, with Sim, we did it. I've talked about this. We did it opposite of what the industry typically does. We asked for, we put it for RFP, one giant thing that said we want to design and the word, everything all in one. Well, typically you have a design first and you put out for bid the cost to do the work based on that design. I had the pre-bid meeting and there was a lot of confusion in that room with the contractors and with purchasing, trying to figure out like what are we supposed to base this on, whatever. Luckily, Sim is a very simple, flat, no lakes, sandy base. It's as simple as it can be. And it worked out tremendously with Mac. I don't want to do that. So I'm working on getting at least three bids from irrigation architects. And I'm still working on the bids, but the prices are good. And they're under the threshold where I could go ahead and move forward. So what I would like to do is get one of them under contract. They would come draw the design and then I would use that design to put out for RFP and they would be involved in the RFP process as well, based on their design to answer questions as they come through. Kind of the thing I've done with the city that's similar to this at Tex on the clubhouse, we had an architect draw up those plans and he kind of ran the bid process because they come to him with, hey, based on your design, whatever, and he can answer those questions. So it's a lot smoother, a lot more common way to go about it. So working on those, I'm waiting on one more bid to come back. When it comes back, I would like to go ahead and move forward, have them come out, start working on that design for the irrigation plan, get that out for bid as soon as possible. It'll be, it'll take a couple, probably a month to get the bid drawn up and get it out. It'll stay open for a month. So real quick, time's going to go by and I would like to get this started November instead of January, February timeframe like we did at Sim. So that's my goal. It looks like it's going to work out. I've been working with purchasing to make sure that I'm not getting ahead of myself, doing anything incorrectly. So hopefully I'll get that other bid by the end of the week and then we can move forward. So since I'm going through that process, that other quote, I should say, not bid, get that other quote. Since we're going through that, I don't want to say too much and because I'm still waiting on one. I don't want that person to get an advantage knowing what the other quotes were. So, but we're fine to move forward. We're under the threshold of the amount. So
Curiosity. Landscape, obviously, they got the bid for the total package. Is there any way of telling her, would they tell you what they might have reimbursed for their design? Just for the something that you might have some knowledge about what you would want to pay for your architect or your design.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I
if
know, we
they
can
had,
talk.
they had
I
to
don't-
pay somebody to do it. They paid.
Right, yeah, they did, and I can, I don't wanna, I know this is big
Okay.
for it, but since we're in the middle of the process, I don't wanna give anybody an advantage and let the people that are still wanting to submit quotes.
So we,
No, but
you
yes,
yourself
I-
got an idea of the
I-
number that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So just to make sure I understand, you're first getting quotes on the architect?
That's it, yeah, I want the.
And how do you know who to approach for that? Or how is that approached? I'm just curious about how, I'm assuming they're not local.
No, no, I've talked to companies as far as LA, Nebraska, Kansas City, Texas.
So the companies that are, you've got referrals about, that you know.
Yeah, just doing research, trying to figure out who does this, we got referrals. The one that we used for, that ended up being involved in the project is him, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
there is a national organization, I love golf course irrigation designers. That you can-
it's a very niche,
So,
market.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's hard to, I look somebody up and I'm like, you're in LA, so I call them like, do you do that? And they're like, oh yeah, we go to Ireland. Okay. So,
So hypothetically, you want to start the irrigation process in November timeframe?
I'd like the work to start November, December.
Happy with, let's say they take 3 months, 4 months timeframe. When would you be on the hook to start making payments for that second one? I'm just wondering because if you pay this first one, let's say you just knock them out. You pay the 400 grand, whatever, you get that wiped out, taken care of, and that's gonna put a dent in the pocketbook. When would you be on the hook to start our back?
I don't have that. There's a 10-year payment plan, basically, that's written out. It starts, is it right? It starts 26 and goes through 36, I guess, and it kind of peaks in the middle. So there's payments in the middle that are almost $400,000 for a couple of years. So yeah, that's why I want to get ahead. So we're not,
Yeah.
who knows what's going on.
basically, you're already on the hook.
Whether we do the work, we can start the work tomorrow. That wouldn't affect the payment plan. Right, yeah, that's all part of we're basically paying off a bond. Yeah,
That's 10 years spans for all 4 courses too, right?
that's right. And so far, there's 15 different process, like approvals to get done, even by council, so they approve it. And they have to approve the funding of the project, which they approved Sim and Mac, so we could go ahead and Mark Manning was key in getting that done, so we could go ahead and move forward without having to do this over and over. I mean, there's still a chance that if things go bad with the city budget, when we go to do Tex and Auburn, I mean, technically they could not approve that. I don't see that happening, but that's another reason why I want to make sure we make a payment and look like, and get ahead so they can say, well, we can trust this is going to work out. Good. We put any doubt in their head, they have the ability to say, no, we're going to hold off on the other two. So
This is the best way in terms of, I've never ever saw a project done like this one was done. Where a company did all the things for you. I mean, it really institutional procedure to hire you an architect to put out your spec sheet. They run the specifications, they run the meeting, they authorize whomever can bid on it. I mean,
Well, do I remember correctly that we were told that's how we had to handle Sam?
That's what I thought.
well, we got,
because we were up against the clock.
yeah,
Because of the time.
Yeah. So what had happened to kick this whole thing off, we had paid for a generic plan. Well, no, it wasn't a generic plan. It was a plan that was using rainbow sprinklers, okay, specific to that brand. Well, we couldn't use that plan because that eliminated the other Venturo Hunter from being able to bid. So we basically had to put it all at once, and we're up again. We don't have time to bid this out and then get that and then bid that out. So it was, I think purchasing learned a lot as well. I think now I went back to them and said, I want to do this different. And they pretty much admit,
Now they understand
we kind of see what you're saying now. And honestly, that did work out perfect. That's him. But I'm telling you, that pre-bid meeting, I wanted to go stick my head in the ground and hide because they were asking questions like, what are we using to go off of? And I'm like, I'm looking at the purchasing person. I'm like, this is what we're talking about. Like this, so, but it worked. It worked. We got it. Very, very happy with the crew there. They're probably, they just got everything delivered they were waiting on. They've got almost all the main line done. So now they're running all the laterals ahead and we're,
Did the wire come in yet?
I think it came in today.
Okay,
Yep.
so now you'll see it start going.
Yeah. Obviously, they don't want to run the stuff until they can run it all at once. And then we're waiting on the wire. So yeah, we're good to go. And
Do
they're
you think we're still within a month or so of,
a month. That would think before. That's what he told me the other
because
day.
that's the question I get asked all the time.
He said, depending on weather, he thinks a month. Yeah. So
Pulling is a lot faster than digging those trenches. It'll go zip, zip, zip. They put that pole in the ground and phew.
oh, you did okay.
So in our last meeting, when the superintendent came, and he was talking about the wells and hypothetically maybe having to drill a tripod of wells to help support the water need. Do we know anymore where we're at there or cost on?
No, I'm
Something like
still
that?
trying. There's different people involved in that meeting that need to be there. Trying to get all that coordinated does not work out yet, but we're still working. I mean, again, they told us don't change anything. Nothing's going to change this year. So to set it up, the way it is, but we're basically what they said, we're giving you a heads up that this could change. So it's just as in preparation for what could come next year, the year after. So I'm not trying to delay it, but it's not been easy trying to get everybody on the same page. Yeah, I want someone from every part of this thing, and it's complicated, on site to talk about that plan, put in multiple wells and everyone to agree, yeah, that would work. Yes, this means, you're not breaking any rule here, that's fine. So,
But we're setting the sprinkler system up to where it would be adaptable if that has to come into play.
right.
Or,
Yeah, I mean, you would have to add some small components to it, yeah, to get it to pull from those multiple wells and different things, but yeah, it would all be in the same area. So right now where the pump and the well is, it would just, this part would have to be changed to pull that, whatever we end up doing there.
I thought I seen someone doing work on that northeast corner where that other well is today. Is that something they're running lines to?
The one button, well, it's too stupid to figure that out. Is that by the shop?
No, opposite.
Under,
Up by Hamilton,
Yeah,
right on the street.
that's not our, we only have the two. We have the one on number 2.
that's what I'm talking about.
That's one, okay.
Yeah, that's going east.
Okay, sorry, yeah. With that river right there in my head, can't comprehend that.
Yeah, I thought I seen something work going on there today. but-
They're supposed to drop the main line back over there to that because they go status quo, so
Yeah.
That's what
they
it
have
looked
to
like was
make a
happening.
tie there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't there today, but yeah, that's, I'm sure there is.
that's the specific well that the discussion's all about.
Right, that's what I was wondering. If we're running a line to it, I guess we're allowed to use it then.
And that's where the status quo comes in, until they get.
It's been pretty frustrating. Just give me a definite answer. So we'll see how it shakes up. But the thing I'm trying to do right now is get everyone on site, just so if this is the way we have to go. You say it's going to work. You say it's going to work. You say it's going to work. Okay. The state is okay with this. The water people are okay with this. Darren, you're okay with this. The oil guys, you know what I mean? I don't know enough about it, so I want every person that to okay, what we do. Any other questions about the irrigation? Or any, no. I'll give you a quick. Well, any other questions about anything before I do that? On a positive note, all of our classes, all of our tournaments, packed, signups are insane. Rounds of golf are crazy. The demand is, I feel like it's actually gotten more than last year. And I guess it always feels like that, but it definitely has not went down. If you watch that Masters, I had 7 heart attacks on Sunday, but, highest viewership they've had since 2018, and that doesn't include the app where everyone watches the Masters now. So, yeah, where golf is still healthy, still kicking butt. So,
I thought that course was in immaculate shape. Oh my God.
the Masters.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
Augusta?
that's the best I've ever seen. I mean, it's
It's
every
go
year,
there.
but this year was incredible.
It did look really good this year. Even the flowers look bright.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put out a little plea, just because, several of my friends work as the coaches or tutors or whatever you want to call it for Wichita Golf, the juniors groups, which filled up in, what, 2 hours or
Yeah.
something? They don't have enough help. So,
yeah.
they're really desperate for people to just come give them help on Monday mornings. Isn't it all Monday mornings, or is it?
Monday
different
and Tuesday.
hours?
Monday and Tuesday. everywhere
Monday,
except
Tuesday.
here. Just Monday here.
And it's 8 weeks. I mean, you're giving up your Monday mornings for 8 weeks. And they are desperate for more people to help.
Yeah,
to
I
make
think
the
Paul
program
is
better.
to have, I said I had a heart attack. I think she's about to have a heart attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
She's overworked. Yep.
So I would put out a plea for you to maybe talk to your groups or whoever, if you've got people that can help, they can do it right at the course where they play. Because I think almost everybody has one. And if they do have somebody who's interested, who should they contact?
Steve at Tex, he's on their board now.
Okay,
He would be a reliable source code, you know. And
Okay.
he'll love that I'm throwing that on his
Is
plate.
that with Wichita Golf Foundation?
yeah, Wichita Golf Foundation, yeah, those do
Yep.
their classes. They do 3 holes, 5 holes, 9 holes, 18 holes. And every one of them filled up in no time at all. And mothers are calling the poor people that are listed as what do they call them, team leaders or whatever. And, "Oh, you want my kid in?" I mean, they're desperate to get their kid in. It's crazy.
We were at Tex the day it opened, not at open, the day it opened at Tex at 8:15. People were calling, they're like, this thing's not working. It's like, oh,
Yeah, it is.
it's working. But we're out. Yeah, we're sold. So,
I mean, it's really crazy. And so some more adult leadership is really needed.
yeah, that's thank you for bringing it up.
Unfortunately, the Wichita Golf Foundation, they've squeezed it down. And a lot of the clubs are now doing their own junior golf programs and stuff, so. They don't take the Wichita Golf Foundation anymore, so it's been squeezed down basically to our courses.
No, basically, it is just a hard.
Yeah.
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 I mean, junior golf, if you do it for financial reasons, you can make quite a bit of money. The one thing I'm proud of is that we do a lot for juniors and we do it with everyone can do it. So I definitely don't want to change that. And, yeah, we definitely, the help, that's it. You can do it. Continue the programs we do for the little amount that we do them for. If we have help, takes effort.
Yeah, but they really do need some help. So talk it up.
Any further business? Trevor?
Tapped out. I kind of gave my spiel at the beginning.
Great job.
Cut forward.
All right, we got Sydney.
I was included in that.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
I gotta watch this video. It's scary.
I don't know what that guy was doing to his vertical, horizontal. What was that all about?
Fun things that happen during a tournament.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell you that was employee.
That was nobody let me know.
Fun times.
Yeah.
It's good. Anybody have any further business they would like to bring up?
It's a beautiful day for golf today. I'm
Yeah.
saying. Even though my golf game's short.
Oh, you all know that what is it? Tomorrow we'll finish the front nine verification at Tex and that's it. We're done after tomorrow. So, he was dragging sand in at 1,000 miles an hour when I was there today. So, yeah, that's almost behind us.
If we really do get some rain in the next few days, which they're still saying, aren't they?
Next weekend.
Yeah. I mean, the greens at Sam will be nice in a week if we get some little bit of rain on.
Yeah.
You're all pretty good, you know what
They
I'm saying?
were perfect. I thought they were.
Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't the all getting help quite as much, except you have to know what you did.
That's right.
Can help you as much as it can hurt you.
Yeah, that's right.
No
to
further
adjourn.
business, I would entertain any motion for adjournment.
I'll do that.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a highlight here, doesn't mean we got to sign it.
Yeah, Michigan got to send that.
So you're thinking-
That's man, it's one.
I just got to say that to the meeting.
I'm gonna go look at the pro shop, it's like you said to.
All right.
We gotta use those.
Yeah, okay.